can you explain maybe the simple difference between a traditional and a Roth? By simple, I mean like maybe dumb it down for me.
Yeah.
You know? But the difference between a traditional and a Roth IRA, and are these ideal to a specific group of people, different groups of people, different types I don't know.
Yeah.
So
what kind of is? It's where you want to receive the tax benefit. So a traditional IRA, you get the tax benefit on the front end. Like when you put money in a traditional IRA or a traditional 401k, you're getting a tax deduction now on your tax return. It grows tax deferred. And when you go to take those dollars out, you're going to pay taxes on it at that whatever tax bracket you're at in retirement. A Roth IRA is literally the opposite. So instead of getting it on the front end, you're getting it on the back end. With a Roth IRA, you're putting dollars in. They're after-tax dollars going into the Roth. So there's no tax benefits now. But when you use it, it accumulates tax-free. And when you go to pull that in retirement, which the IRS defines as 59.5, like that's the earliest that we can pull money from a traditional or a Roth IRA without any sort of worrying about any sort of penalty. But when you take it from a Roth IRA, it's tax-free. So it's where and how you want to get the tax benefit. Hypothetically speaking, if you're someone that's here's the conventional wisdom that I've always heard. When you're young in your career and you're just starting out, you're not at like peak earning years yet, right? Obviously, you're not at peak earning years. And so a lot of times you'll hear people advise like, oh, you should put money into a Roth IRA because you're not in a high tax bracket yet. When you're in a high tax bracket, maybe it makes more sense to get the tax deduction. That advice doesn't always ring true for everybody. That's kind of generalized advice I've heard over the years. Yeah. But it stands to reason that it kind of depends situationally, because you ask like, who's it for? Well, it just really depends on where your tax bracket's at and what's your motivation. Are you trying to get a tax deduction today and do everything you can to limit your tax obligations? If so, maybe the traditional makes a little more sense for your circumstance. I'm a big believer in both.
Yeah.
So like having tax diversification when you retire someday means being able to maybe pull from traditional assets or Roth assets and kind of balance that strategy in retirement. So I like both.
Yeah. I like how you explain it in like tax bracket, because I think just because I'm young, people have always said like, do the Roth, but then I immediately correlate it with like, it's what age you are. And that's just not true.
No, not at all.
Just different circumstances.